now recording, and I won't even lose this recording. I tried to do something funky with it last time and it didn't work. It funkied off my computer.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting last time, wasn't it?
I know, sorry. Hello to everyone out there in podcast land and our YouTube channel land.
Moving over to cover the sewing machine.
Oh, right. So, Kerrie, we got Kerrie Atherton tonight, the amazing Kerrie Atherton, who's going to tell us all about herself, and she's just trying to cover the sewing machine that you can't see on podcast land, but you out there in YouTube land can see if you look hard enough. And I hadn't noticed it. I do like your backdrop, though. I like what sort of tree is that behind you, that green paint? Is it a painting or a real tree? Right, it's in front of your door.
It's a fake plant.
It's a fake plant. It looks very real. It looks very real.
I couldn't carry the real one in. It was too heavy. And I thought a bit of greenery behind will be great. So get the fake one and away we go.
We love green here at the Guinea Group of Companies, Kerrie Atherton. Good to see you, girl. Well done. So now, have you got a copy of your book with you to hold up and show everyone out there in the world?
I do.
Oh, crap. Oh, just give us half a sec. Hey, Tristo, just on a video, man. Can I give you a call back in a half hour?
Yeah, give me a go. Otherwise, I'll exchange messages with you.
Love your work. Thanks, bro. See you, man.
Roger. See.
So, Kerrie, tell us about Stories of Hope, girl. What you launched that. We spoke when you got that out, which was about 2 months ago? 3 months?
Yeah, probably. This was released at the end of February, book launch at the end of February.
Is that right?
We probably spoke about April.
Yeah, so April, May, June, July. Yeah, 3 months ago. Yeah. Cool. So tell us about Stories of Hope. What's the book about? What's the gist? How did you come to be writing books too, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? Because just for everyone out there in podcast land that you can't see, everyday people, extraordinary stories. So, and like I know the background, but I'll let Kerrie tell you about it because she'll tell it way better than I will.
Well, it's a long story, but I started Stories of Hope in January 2017.
Wow.
And I have probably had around 35 speakers to date. And I just love what happens in the room so much that I just really wanted to take a piece of that and share that with the rest of the world.
So for everyone that doesn't know what you're talking about here, Kerrie, you're saying that you take speakers who have had some challenges in their life and that have turned that around, and you put them in a room and they talk to other people, share their lessons?
That's right. Well, what they share their story of overcoming hard times. So I only allow people to speak who have actually come out the other side, because when they've come out the other side, they've got something tangible to give people, and that's hope, encouragement, inspiration. And so different people come along to these events, and I have 2 different speakers each month, usually a man and a woman, and I cover every topic possible. And we've had around 35 speakers. We meet in the same room on the last Tuesday of every month at our local tavern. And
good place to
also, yeah. And we also run men's mental health nights as well. And we had our first ever women's only night a couple of months ago.
Go you, Kerrie. Love your work. Hey, by the way, I'm happy to put my hand up to speak if you're ever looking for a story of hope. Let me know, and I can tell you about the Burns story and all that sort of stuff. And if that's any help for you, so being second degree, all that sort of.
I was looking at your pictures the other day and about your Burns story. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, and yeah, I will. Can I just unpack this Stories of Hope first? Because it's such a great, I just love the concept of taking people who have been on a journey, what can they share with people? And so the people that you get in the room, obviously, are probably people that are still struggling with whatever it is they're going through, Kerrie. Is that right? And you put people in front of them that just have gone on the journey and have got some stories and some knowledge and some lessons to share, yeah?
Yeah, we have our regulars that come along. But I had one lady come along the first night, and she said to me that she got more out of that one event than all her psychology appointments put together. And I think that a main reason for that also is the connection that takes place in the room. And connection's so important, because when people are going through their hardest times in life, it's often a very lonely journey. And when I was in that place, I just longed to have somebody that understood the level of pain that I was going through. So by getting these speakers in that have been through the hardest times of life and come out the other side, the people in the room that are struggling with that particular topic, or just people just come along because they just love the inspiration and connection that takes place. And then people that work in the community and just really have a desire to care for others come along as well, just to get a bit of the atmosphere in the room.
I love it. And you've packaged how many of these stories up into the great book that you've got, Kerrie?
In this book, I have my story and 11 other speakers, and they're the stories from the first year of Stories of Hope. But we're actually in our third year now, so I've already started writing book 2.
Oh, go you. Geez, you're changing the world, girl. Well done. Hey, just for everyone out there, I know that I was really inspired by your story when we spoke last. Like, you have had some tough times. Can you just, for everyone out there in podcast and YouTube land, just talk us through some of those, and I guess maybe the lesson or two that you got out of it that other people might be able to learn from your sort of challenges, if that's okay? Are you happy to share?
Yeah, sure. I guess I've got 2 stories. I won't go... we would be here all night if I was to go into everything.
Give us the 5-minute version.
5-minute version. But grew up with 2 alcoholic parents and went through a lot of trauma and a lot of difficult situations, which led me to a pill addiction. And then at 15, I became a fully blown alcoholic. Just asking you a question. Am I looking at you at the moment?
You sure
okay.
Are, baby. You sure are.
Yeah. And that was a devastating journey for a young teenage girl who was a pill addict and alcoholic. Many things happened to me, and at 18, I totally lost hope. And the day came where I wanted to end my life. I'd had depression and thought about this for a long time, but I was really tipped over the edge after coming back from holidays and being punched by my boyfriend at a caravan park in front of families. And I came back from that holiday and I literally had lost all hope. And I just decided that this was the day I was going to check out. And I'd been in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings a few times because at 16, when I started drinking, my parents and all their friends who were already in AA said to me, you're an alcoholic. And I'm like, no way, I'm 16. There's no way I could be an alcoholic. And being a rebel by nature, I thought, be stuffed if I'm going to give up drinking now. I'm only just getting going. And I wanted to give it a good shot, you know.
I'm going to compliment got this now. I've got this drinking shit down, Pat.
Who at 16 wants to live a life with their funnest times just going to a movie on the weekends? But it was a very quick downhill slide. I had an accidental overdose where I was watching my body on the floor of the nightclub, and that close, I think, to actually dying. I had another overdose. And so at 18, when I planned to do this, I heard this loud voice say, don't do it. If you hang on a bit longer, you'll find happiness one day. And my last stop was ringing Alcoholics Anonymous. And if they didn't answer, I wouldn't be here. So somebody did, and I went to a meeting that night. And I haven't had a drink since. I've been going to the movies every weekend. Teetotaler. But high on life. Don't really need alcohol. A bit crazy high on life.
Isn't that great? I know. And I made the mistake, Kerrie, just off topic a little bit.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of not drinking the other night when we went to watch James Rain. So we go to a lot of music concerts here in Gladstone.
Right.
And I'm not a big drinker. I'm like you. I don't sort of drink too much. And of course, so I did the driving. So I've got a 20-year-old, and I've got a couple of drunken loud mates. Then we caught up with a couple of drunken loud mates. And so by the end of the night, I think I'd done 3 trips around our small town, dropping everyone home. And I remember before we went, Zach, my son, said to me, "You're going to go to a music concert and not drink?" I said, "Absolutely, mate. You know, we can just have a bit of fun and we'll do our thing." And that was totally foreign to a 20-year-old that you'd go out and you didn't want to drink. And I do it quite regularly, which he doesn't remember. But anyway, you can certainly have a bit of fun without alcohol. That's for sure. Anyway, that was off topic. Who cares? So you've been through hell and back. That was at 18, and you haven't drank since 18. I tell you what, that's a big effort. Good on you, girl.
Yeah, I mean, some people think, oh yeah, you just get better overnight, but when you've done so much damage to yourself and in life, you know, there's a lot of shame, and they say that alcoholics actually stop growing emotionally the day they pick up their first drink. So even as an 18, 19-year-old, I was still like a 15-year-old emotionally.
Right.
And so it takes a lot of time, you know, to recover from shame and to learn how to love yourself again.
And probably mature through those years that you miss by the sounds of it. So you've sort of got to do your maturing to a degree while you're recovering. So
Exactly.
You got to do some personal development and some management of this whole situation that you've got going on. See, I've been lucky enough that I've never really struggled with addiction other than for, say, sports and stuff, because I'm a triathlete.
Right.
So
healthy addiction.
Healthy addiction, yes. Which I don't. Sometimes it doesn't feel that healthy. I'm always injured. So and one of the reasons is, so I had an alcoholic father as well as a young person, and I can remember Mum left him fairly early because he was abusive. So I think, you know, I can sort of remember some of those things that happened as a very, very young boy. And I know how destructive that is for families. And having 2 parents that are alcoholics, holy crap. Is this like, is alcoholism something that's hereditary, or is it like what's the genetics behind alcoholism?
There's definitely a genetic disposition, but studies have shown now that can actually be changed through learned behaviour.
Right.
And so I saw my mum drank till I was 12.
Oh, she gave up?
She gave up when I was 12. My dad hadn't drank since before I was born, but both his parents died from alcoholism. He lost his mum when she was about 45 from an overdose, and his dad died at about 52 from alcoholism. So my dad had no brothers and sisters, and he was also a fully blown alcoholic and was on a train, I think in Sydney, and must have been drunk, put his fists through and moving the train window while it was going and almost bled to death. And that was kind of the end of the road for him. He checked into AA, I think at 23 he became sober, and he passed away 3 years ago. He had 60 years sobriety when he passed away.
He had 60 years sober.
Yeah. And he was the most amazing man that you could ever meet. His love and empathy for other people was just so inspiring and so incredible. And
wow,
that really taught me how to give unconditionally and love selflessly to others. Was my dad showed me that.
Wow. That's a beautiful thing to say. Isn't that nice when you've got great role models like that? And so do you sort of, you know, look back and say that some of that role modelling helped you pull through as well as the AA stuff? Or, you know, how did that all sort of play a part in your recovery?
Yeah, I was definitely really... I became close to both my parents, but I shared a very special connection with my father because we're both musicians.
Oh, nice.
And my dad was, I was very much like my dad in personality.
Mm.
And my mum and me became a lot closer as I got older and when I became a mum.
Right.
But my dad was like my number one encourager. He'd ring me every day, tell me he loved me, buy me flowers, and we would just laugh our heads off together like he was like a best mate type thing. And my mum, very introverted and quite serious. So even though we were very close, we were very different.
So they were sort of polar opposites to a degree, were they, mum and dad?
Yeah, I married my mum actually in the male form, my husband.
He's the introvert, you're the extrovert.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, good on you.
He levels me out though. Like
they have a funny way.
Everyone needs a leveler, don't they?
Oh, especially for us nutcases, Kerrie, who are out there to change the world. We need people just to pull us back a little bit and say, you know what, maybe we don't have to achieve all that tomorrow. Maybe we can do that over a year, or maybe you're thinking a bit bigger. That's right. Why can't I do all that next week?
Yeah, I know.
So
go on.
I was going to say, how's it been being an author? Do you love it? Has it been good fun?
Oh, I love it. I've always loved writing. I mean, I failed maths and I found my report the other day and it was always, Kerrie is a great creative writer. Kerrie needs to learn to concentrate more. And so failed maths, I blitzed it through drama, music and creative writing.
Right.
And so I've always done a lot of journaling and expressing myself on paper and do lots of blogging and stuff. And I've wanted to write my story for my whole life.
Wow.
But being a dreamer and a procrastinator and somebody for a long time who had very, very low self-worth and thinking that I never had the goods, never had what it took, just never got it off the ground until I started Stories of Hope, till the day I drew that line in the sand.
Wow. Good on you.
And the fear of not achieving my dreams became so much greater than the fear of going ahead and the potential of being rejected. So I just had to charge ahead with what I wanted to do finally.
Good on you, girl. Good on you. So for people out there, and I know I've shared it before, but for people out there, www.storiesofhope.com.au.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
And they can get a copy. Beauty. Easy peasy, Japanesey. Good on you, girl. There it is. There it is. Get yourself a copy, team. Get inspired and get part of the program, Stories of Hope. So as we start wrapping up, Kerrie, here's like a little list. Did I send you some of these?
No.
Oh, that was naughty of me. I apologise.
What are they?
Oh, these are the books I've written.
Wow.
So that's a bestseller.
5 books.
Yes, yeah. One's a safety one. This is like your Stories of Hope. So this has got stories of different people in there that, normal people who have achieved. Oh, look at that! There's my lovely wifey. So she's a school teacher. Started a degree at 30. Studied while she had 2 kids at home, 2 babies in nappies. She was doing a teaching degree. Can you believe that? Isn't that strong?
Wow.
So she did amazing. And at the other end of the scale, this is the bestseller about all of your Richard Bransons and Oprah Winfrey's and stuff like that, and that I authored with Darren and Spike. So Spike's out of the States and Darren's out of Victoria. Choice Point, this is my sort of story. That was the original version of it. We've got rewritten into that. And then this is a bit of a safety one. So yeah, I've sort of...
That's awesome. That's very inspiring.
Stop it. No. Yeah, no, it's been good fun. So I've been lucky enough to sort of author those with a few different people and publish with a few different people and self-publish. And it all started with that Burns. At the age of 21, got blown up in a switchboard and sort of could have been killed at work, and had all my skin blown off my face and my hands, and I went to intensive care and then went off to the burns unit where they pull all your skin off for you over about a month. And I didn't have the use. Yeah, I know. Didn't have the use of my hands for a while and couldn't wipe my own backside, Kerrie. No one does that as well as you do. I can tell you right now, as much as they try. God love the nurses. Thank you, nurses. They just always miss that last bit, which is really interesting. So yeah. So then from there, I was like you. I sort of got down in the dumps for a while, and why me, and all those negative thoughts, and was never going to work as an electrician again, and life sucked, and it's a bit hard back then. When you had a workplace incident, people were a bit tougher on you than they are now. Now we try to rehabilitate and try to sort of help and care a bit more. And back then it was just sort of, well, you're an unsafe worker, champ. You're pretty unemployable now. How are you going to get a job? Who's going to want to hire you now? That was sort of the rhetoric that I heard.
Yeah.
So that,
sad, hey?
It was, Kerrie, it was. So that sucked a bit. So it took a bit for me to get my head around that. It took me 10 years to actually really come to grips with the fact that, one, it was my fault. Two, I had to stop thinking about it and whinging about it and complaining and feeling, hard done by, because it really, there's a lot of people worse off than me. So I've got no scars or anything.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Oh, I know, Kerrie. Oh, I know. Lucky. Thank you for the... for everyone that cared for me and for the greater purpose that was sort of probably taking care of me that day. And I always say, Kerrie, if they leave us behind, it means we've got something yet great to achieve in life. So,
well, when you mentioned purpose just then,
I
spoke at the LinkedIn Sunshine Coast Business Network a couple of weeks on the human side of business.
Right.
And one of the things that I really wanted to get across, one of the points, was that some people go through more pain than others. But at the end of the day, despite our role, our title, we're all just the same. We're all just emotions in skin. We're human.
We sure.
And it's easy to stop. Have you heard that saying, if you're going through hell, don't stop?
Absolutely.
It's easy to stop, but so often the pain doesn't go away. So we have to actually step over our pain to find our purpose.
Absolutely.
So not be stopped by it, but step over our pain to find our purpose. And that's something that you and I have definitely been able to do and continue to encourage other people to do.
Step over your pain to find your purpose. That's pretty cool, girl. I like that. There's a LinkedIn post in that.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I love it.
Don't steal my LinkedIn post.
No.
You've been reading them. That's nice. I like that.
Absolutely. Always. I'm like,
and step over your fear to find your freedom.
Oh, go you. And they all rhyme too. I like it.
That's what I had to do. Step over my fear to find my freedom.
Wow. I loved what you said before when you said that the fear of not achieving your dreams became greater than the fear of actually going after it. I love it. That's so important. Imagine if we all got to that point.
Oh, I know. I sit back so many times and I'm like, why did it have to take so long? I wished I'd been able to be that free, not to worry about what people thought like 10 years ago. But obviously there's a perfect time for everything, and I wasn't ready back then. I was actually in the middle of a terrible grief tunnel with my mum dying back then, and I just didn't have the emotional strength probably to be able to give out to the magnitude that I do now.
That's right. Yeah. I think with some of those grief tunnels actually help us build a fair bit of resilience, as you know. And it's sometimes that resilience and that experience that you get to a point. I like what you said, when you don't care what people think about you anymore. You get to a point where you realise that it's your journey, not theirs, and that you're not there to please them. You've got to create your own life that fulfills you.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important distinction when you get there, because you actually will push forward based on your own purpose, you know, when you're at that point. So,
I think when we can make our life more about what we can do for others. And put what we think people think about us aside, and make it about what we can do for others. It's just such a freeing place to be able to work from.
Good point. It's a contribution piece, right? It's about giving, adding value to the planet, and sharing our. I sometimes call it your superpower. What's your superpower? You know, whether it's for you, it's sharing stories of hope. For me, it's speaking from stage and engaging with leaders to help them build high-performing teams, you know. And so when you work out what that superpower is and you have the confidence and the courage to go out and give that to the world, holy shit, yeah, watch things change, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Can I do a quick plug?
No way, of course you can.
For the Fearless Conference. I don't know if you've heard about the Fearless Conference.
No.
On the Sunshine Coast in August. And it's a national conversation, a national conference on PTSD and trauma. And it's been run in New Zealand. It's being run for the first time over here on the Sunshine Coast in August. And got some incredible speakers speaking on all forms of PTSD and trauma, from all arenas. So that's going to be anybody that's battling with trauma and PTSD. I just believe it's going to be such a life-changing conference.
Right. No, that's fantastic. Thanks, Kerrie. And so can we just can we connect offline about that? Because I'd like to actually come down and attend. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'd love to. When is it? Oh, it's August, is it?
It's August the 22nd and 23rd.
Okay, that's right. I think I'm racing triathlon in Philippines, which is great fun still.
Oh, really?
As you do.
Cancel.
That's right. I'm going to Fearless, baby, Fearless. All right, Kerrie. Well, thank you so much, girl. What about the top sort of piece of advice for everyone out there? So there'll be someone out there that's going through some grief that listening into you. What's maybe the big thing? I guess fear to freedom and pain to purpose. What's maybe something else that is worth as a takeaway?
Well, something I shared when I spoke at the business conference, and I also spoke at LB30 that morning on resilience. I think two of the key things I think for anyone is, like we said before, everyone's human. And every single person, when they turn the lights out at night, they take off their work hat, their position, their title, their money, or whatever it may be, and the lights go out at night. We're all just human. We're emotions in skin. And we all need connection. And I've had many business owners talk to me about loneliness, how lonely they are in business. And I think the greatest piece of advice that I could give anyone is to reach out, to allow yourself to become vulnerable, and to reach out and actually ask somebody that you trust or somebody that you can connect with for that help, and to build a great connection base around you. So they're the couple of things that I really believe are life-saving for everybody, no matter what we do in life, is connection and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and seek help.
Ooh. Great way to finish, Kerrie. I'm going to actually take that last couple of minutes, I think, or this last couple of minutes, and we might even make a LinkedIn post out of that, eh?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Love it. Good work, girl. Hey, thanks again, girl. Now, I'm going to stop this recording. Actually, goodbye, podcasters. Thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure. You've been with Kerrie Atherton, Anton and Stories of Hope. Right. I want to save the bejesus out of that. We'll load that as a podcast.